This is Financially Fit Radio with Cory Sickles from Safe Harbor Retirement Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Cory provides his clients and prospects with the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is Financially Fit Radio with Cory Sickles.
Welcome back to another episode of Financially Fit Radio. I'm Cory Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group and Wealth Advisors. If you'd like more information about what you hear on today's show, just feel free to reach out to us by giving us a call at 614-760-0670, or you can visit us online at safeharboroh.com. And while you're on our website, feel free to click on that radio page. You can check out some past shows, as well as subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, or Spotify. Also, you can feel free to check out our YouTube page. You can watch today's show on there as well. Just type in Safe Harbor Retirement Group. And also, subscribe to our YouTube page. You can also become familiar with our financially fit tips of the day as well. Again, we're here to help and guide you as you kind of go through this retirement process. Today, I want to talk about a common question I always get, and that is, are you a fiduciary? And really, what does that mean to you, the client? So we'll kind of dive into that today. But before we do that, let me introduce to you my co-host this week and every week, and that's Tony Shore. Tony, how are you today?
I am great, Cory. I had a great week, and I had a great weekend last weekend. I got a lot done outside. The weather was so great. It was awesome. And there was a big event in my town where I live. They had a street dance and a big dinner out on the lift bridge. It was amazing. So we had fun. How about you? What did you do this past weekend? Did you get any golf in?
I did get some golf in.
I thought you might.
And it's kind of felt like we went from rainy season to like summer. Man, it was hot this weekend. So humid, hot. Looks like we didn't have too much of a spring besides a rainy spring, really more than anything down here in Columbus. So, things are busy here at the office as well, Tony. It's hard to believe it's already June.
I know. It's crazy. And all I have to say before we get started and talk about fiduciaries and what that means and why it's important, and it is important, go Wolves. Go Timberwolves.
Yeah, go Timberwolves.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, just beat the defending champs, the Nuggets.
Yeah.
We'll see how they do against the Mavs, and then more than likely probably play the Celtics if they do make it to the finals.
I think they will play the Celtics. That'll be a tough one. Well, hey, Cory, this is an interesting topic. First, I'm going to ask you to define fiduciary. What in the world does that word mean for our listeners who might not know? And we've talked about it maybe on past shows, but what are the benefits of working with a fiduciary? And why do you want to do that?
Honestly, Tony, we get asked that question quite a bit as we sit down with the prospect that comes in and they want to go, are you a fiduciary? But what does that really mean, right? Really what that means, to you as the client is we're always going to put your interest ahead of my own, right? We're going to have a duty to preserve a good faith and trust in anything that we do for you or recommend any type of solutions for you. So it's something that you definitely want to make sure that you work with. Now, we're a registered investment advisor here at Safe Harbor Retirement Group, or it's actually Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. Sure. And all that means to you is being an RIA, we're legally bound to have a fiduciary responsibility to our clients. So as we kind of go through the retirement process, as we come up with the way that we're going to develop income plans or any products that we recommend to you, we're always going to be looking out for your best interest and not ours. And really, what's that mean? So, that means we're going to try to put you in the best type of product that suits your needs. Maybe not as what's going to pay us the highest commission or, or something like that, Tony. I mean, we're an independent. So when we start talking about annuities and life insurance, for example, we're going to recommend what we believe is the best product for your situation. By being independent, we're not tied to any particular company. And as the one thing I will say this, products do change, and a lot of them change on a monthly or quarterly basis, depending on what type of product we're putting you into, because they have better rates, or maybe they're going to pay a little bit higher income when that time comes when you do need it. So we're taking all that into consideration. And then obviously we're going to do what's right for you when we start even investing money in the market. So, so really what we're really trying to do more than anything, Tony, is build that trust and confidence with our clients.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know you work hard to do that, and you are held to that standard. You're audited as a fiduciary. Fiduciaries are audited, the decisions they make and what they recommend to their clients and where they put their clients' money is looked at and make sure it's in the client's best interest, not in yours. And I think that's a big difference between somebody who's just a broker and in the stock market, or just an insurance agent. You're a financial fiduciary, wealth manager, and that fiduciary standard is great. And I know you personally and your staff there, and obviously you would always strive to put your clients' best interests ahead of your own regardless. But it is important to make sure you are working with a fiduciary, that they are held to that standard. And there are a lot of benefits to working with a fiduciary.
Yeah, there definitely is. And I think one of the biggest ones, we kind of talked about that trust and confidence, loyalty. So we're always going to be loyal, to our client base. But I think another big part of it is transparency too. And really what I'm talking about there is really we're trying to disclose everything possible to you when we're going to recommend whatever we recommend to you. And obviously what comes with that is, what type of fees are you going to pay as well. We want to make sure that our clients understand the fees that they're going to be paying us, maybe the fees they might be paying some different types of products we put them into. But I think it's really important. I'm really amazed at times, Tony, when people come in and meet with us, that maybe they don't even know the product that they're in,
right?
Why they were actually in that particular product, what fees they're paying for that product, or what type of fees they're actually paying to their current advisor. We try to be transparent. We go over all that with them. They're going to sign documents with all that type of stuff with them as well. But we want to make sure that they understand, more important is, why did we choose the solution that we chose, for our clients? I think that's very important. And really the only way to be able to do that is to be as transparent as you possibly can be with your client base.
Yeah, you have to be. And I think that's great. And that the trust that you build there, the relationship, and just trying to do what's in everybody's situation is different. And that's why the fiduciary rule, and working with a fiduciary like yourself who looks at all the available options. I don't know how some of these people who call themselves financial advisors or planners can say that they're doing the right thing when everybody's situation is different, and they're not looking at all the tools. How can you say you're really doing what's in your client's best interest if there's something that you put completely off the table? Like, oh, I'm not going to touch, you don't want to be in bonds, or you don't want a fixed index annuity, or you don't want to look at cash value life insurance, or, if they're like that, then they're not looking at all the possibilities for you. They have to weigh what's going to be best for you. And that could be there's so many different options out there nowadays.
Yeah, there are. And, just like, speaking of what you were just talking about, the one thing that we also try to do, Tony, is just kind of avoid what we call that conflict of interest as well. We want to be able to avoid that, right? We want to make sure that we're very objective on, whatever we recommend to you. We want to make sure there's no personal gains to us, right? I've heard of some advisors doing some products and things, recommending products because maybe that insurance company or annuity company is going to take them on a trip or whatever that might end up being at the end of the day. But, we don't try to do that here. I mean, again, we're going to probably spread if we're for, even for like annuities and life insurance, there's probably going to be a handful of companies that we're actually going to place money in throughout the year because it's really, what is best for that client at that point in time. And, the other part of being able to do that is it's kind of like, if you're avoiding that conflict of interest, then you're also going to be ethical and you're going to be very loyal to your client base as well. We try to, we try to maintain an ethical standard for all of our clients. I think it's very important for them to be able to understand that. And, the one thing that I will say, as we kind of go through a process or as we have clients too, Tony, sometimes we do screw up, right? Whether it's from a customer service standpoint or maybe dropping the ball on certain things that we did not intentionally mean to do. But I think one of the most important things that is important to a client is we admit that when we do mess up. And here's the most important part is how are you going to be able to resolve that issue or concern that you actually have with that client as well. I think when people screw up in general, Tony, you really find out what type of person they are or what type of company they are on how they actually resolve that issue.
Yeah, it's not whether you make a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake eventually.
Sure.
It's how you handle it, right? And
Exactly right.
that is exactly right. That's a great point. And to your point about being ethical and doing what's in your client's best interests, I like that because you're not going to put all your clients in one product through one company just so you can win some kind of trip or extra award. You're going to look at all the options, and if they have the tool that makes the best sense, then you're going to offer that to your client or clients.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. And also being ethical also is a concern too. Is just from a misconduct of fraud, that obviously that kind of goes with that as well.
Yeah.
We're not going to do those type of things here at Safe Harbor, Wealth Advisors. So, I mean, we are going to have the highest ethical standards that we possibly can for our clients, and I think that shows in the small number of clients that do leave Safe Harbor.
Yeah.
So, most of our clients are going to be with us for years, and because we're always going to try to do the right thing for them, and things do change as well, right? Just like anything else, and we have to be able to adapt as things change, as you retire, as you lose a job. There's a lot of things that happen to clients that we have to go in and kind of revise the plan. And with the information that we have, we're going to be able to come up with a good solution for them.
Right. And something you mentioned there, when people are concerned about, oh, they've heard about, some, Bernie Madoff situation or something like that, you don't actually handle your client's money directly anyway. You use a third party for that, right? Like Charles Schwab.
Yeah. So, yeah, we don't take custody of any of the money. So if you actually were going to invest funds with us, those funds are going to be actually deposited at Charles Schwab. What I'm really talking about there is if you invest in the market, if you actually are investing in an annuity or life insurance, it'll actually be, made out to that company's name, Tony.
Because they'll be the custodian. So
yes.
you and that's a good, if you're going to work with a financial professional, make sure they do work with a third party custodian who's a trusted name that does that. Used to be TD Ameritrade, I think, and Charles Schwab, and they merge, and there are a few others, but Charles Schwab is the biggest and most reliable, and that's who you utilize, right?
Yeah, we use Charles Schwab. And here's the most important part. How do you really know if you're actually working with a third party that actually has custody of the money? And that is you're going to, when you receive their statements, it's going to say, Charles Schwab or Fidelity,
Yeah.
for example, right? It's not going to be, safe harbor wealth advisors that you get on your statements,
Right.
um, or a hedge type fund. So
And
that's
that
where you
email
got to
isn't going to come from Safe Harbor. You're going to get a notice from Charles
Charles
Schwab
Schwab.
directly. Yeah.
That's exactly right. You're going to go to their website. You're going to look at your account balances and things like that. Now, we do manage the portfolios,
Sure.
for that. But really, the only thing we have the ability to do is move the money around on how we're going to invest it. We
Right.
don't have the ability to actually send money out of that account, to my account or to or anyone but except for that client's account.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important thing that our clients need to understand, and I think they do, is we don't have to worry about Ponzi schemes with the way that we're actually set up here at Safe Harbor.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when you work with a financial guy who says, "Hey, I've got this great investment opportunity for you," and he wants you to put the money in some account that you've never heard of, or that's not good.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep. And then here's another good benefit that I believe that's a very important for our clients, or for our listeners out there to understand too, is just from a professionalism standpoint, right? One of the things that we're good at is we're good at providing what I would consider skilled advice, right? So a lot of the things that you're going to be going through on a day-to-day basis, or years in order to prepare for retirement or once you retire, is this is something that we do day in and day out. We see how this is what we do. We know how to actually put together income plans or retirement plans or financial plans for our clients. We have a good expertise, or good knowledge, I guess you could say, and of obviously financial planning. By being an RIA, we also have a good understanding of estate planning and management as well. We have a good about taxes. We talk about estate planning and taxes all the time on the show, on how important it is to make sure that you're paying yourself rather than paying Uncle Sam.
Right.
Right. Especially when you're in retirement. We've all, nobody wants to pay more tax.
That's
right.
for sure. Yeah.
So the question really is can you set yourself up for a situation to pay less tax, the longer that you do live? So, we're going to sit down with you and go through all that. We're constantly, having to go through what I would consider ongoing education. We have to stay up with the current laws, regulation, best practices. It seems like more and more they're throwing more stuff on us, just from a compliance standpoint too. Especially now with they're wanting us to be able to really justify on why we're going to be managing money if we're moving money from a 401k or a 403b or a thrift savings plan in order to be managed by us. So there's got to be benefits, and we have to be transparent about that, to our client base.
Sure. And that makes sense. And it is a lot of work. I know that you and your staff are quite busy there, and they do constantly throw more and more at you to say, hey, you also need to do this. You also need to do that. And you work hard for your clients, and that's who you work for. The boss there isn't you, it's your client, isn't it? And
it is.
That's who
exactly
you work,
right.
That's who you work for, is the client. Yeah.
Yeah, and by having that professionalism and the knowledge of being able to recommend things, Tony, then that really allows us to provide a what I consider a great personalized service for our client base, right? And really, what I really mean by that is everyone's situation is different.
Yep.
Everyone has different amount of monies they saved. They have different types of where that money is, whether it's an IRA or Roth or non-qualified. They have different types of income needs. So when we sit down with a client, we go through, here's the nice part is we go through the same process with everybody that comes through here. Now, that by going through that same process, we're going to come up with different solutions. But the thing is we're doing the same thing day in and day out with everyone that comes through here.
Yep.
And by having that tailored solution, we're going to be able to meet your own specific goals and adjust that as time changes, as you're preparing or as you enter retirement as well. And I think that's very important for our clients to be able to understand.
Right. Everybody has different needs and goals, and their needs are different. And not only does how much money they have change things, their age, obviously, their time horizon, what they want to do in retirement, where their money is at, when they need their money. Some people, say, I want all this money to go to my kids and use as little as possible now. Some people might say, I want to buy a $150,000 RV the day I retire and travel. So they need different amounts at different times, and everybody's situation is different. The good news is you've seen it all because you go through retirement every day with someone. You're planning for retirement every single day, and the rest of us only have to go through this process once. But that's why we go to you, is you work on not only retirement planning, but investment planning. So it doesn't matter the age, but usually the goal for investments is to utilize later in life when you need it for a big trip or for retirement income. So that's huge. And you're right. Everybody's situation is different. And that's one of the big keys. And that's another reason to work with a fiduciary who's going to look out for your personal best interest, not just it's suitable, and that just, it's a blanket coverage for everyone.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Tony. And by doing it, I think the way that we do it, we're also able to provide what really I think is the most important part of all this to our client base, and that is to provide really a holistic approach, right? Not only are you going to talk to us about the financial standpoint or Social Security or your pension, we're going to handle all that type of stuff, but we're also going to be able to sit there and say, you know what, let's get tax planning involved. Let's make sure all your state's in order. We're able to help you with Medicare as well. So there's a lot of different things that we're able to do by having that holistic approach that's going to give us a good understanding of everything that's encompassed for you, but what's going to be that best solution for you as well.
Yeah.
And I think, our business, if you look at it, our business is really all about trust. You have to be able to trust us, to be able to work with you, to be able to manage your money, to make sure that you feel like you're working with the right person, but more importantly, the right company, to make sure that we're going to meet your needs, for retirement. And as you kind of go through a process with us, as you become a client, I think one of the things this is going to be able to do is it's going to be able to give you a peace of mind. Mm-hmm. If you trust us, you're going to have that peace of mind, which is going to reduce your stress, and you're going to feel a lot more confident when that day comes, and that is retirement. The paycheck stops, and now it's all going to be based upon how you planned and how you worked with us in order to have that retirement that everyone really dreams of.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it's all about here, Cory. And speaking of that, this has been a good show, really explaining what a fiduciary is, what it means, what the benefits are, and how important it can be to work with an actual fiduciary and a financial advisor like yourself, who is a fiduciary, and your team there. Before we go, let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you to set up a consultation.
Yeah, for our listeners and viewers out there, you can always give us a call at 614-760-0670. Or again, you can always visit us online at safeharboroh.com. Again, we're here to help and guide you to make sure that you have the retirement that you want. Just remember, all meetings that you have with us are complimentary. There's no financial obligation. So yeah, give us a call at 614-760-0670. Or again, you can go to our website at safeharboroh.com to request that complimentary meeting with us.
All right. Well, Cory, great show today. Loved it. And listeners, thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of Financially Fit Radio with our host, Cory Sickles. Thank you for listening to Financially Fit Radio. Don't pay too much for taxes or retire without a sound income plan. For more information, contact Cory Sickles at Safe Harbor Retirement Group. Call 614-760-0670 or visit their website at financiallyfitoh.com.
All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, the Federal Medicare Program, or any other government agency. Calling this number will direct you to a licensed sales agent.